Alright, Treasury Financial Manual, Volume 1, Part 6, Chapter 3100. Certifying payments of recording corresponding to the intergovernmental receipts of the federal government judgment fund. The chapter prescribes the guidance proceed with the necessary for the submit of the request of the payment of the judgment fund, certain judgment settlement of the against the United States. Section 3110, Scope of Applicability, Chapter supplement the Department of Treasury Regulation 31, Part 256, of the payments for the judgment fund and the under private relief bills. It also provides detailed information any form of the request of payment of the judgment fund, profits to collect for the reimbursement of the judgment fund, the recording, as well as reporting and intergovernmental receipt of the relay of the payments for the reimbursement of the judgment fund. Section 3115, following authorities regulation govern policy set forth in Chapter 31 United States Code 1304, Title 41 U.S. Standard Code 7108, Title 5 U.S. Standard Code 2301, Title 31 Code Federal Regulation 256, and Title 5 Code Federal Regulation Part 724. Section 3121, term of the definitions of the Transfer Treasury Financial Manual Glossary. Section 3125, Bureau Official Service of the roles of the certifying payment of the judgment fund. Congress to settle the judgment fund and permanently identify with the appropriations to pay certain judicial and administrative monetary awards against the United States amounts under the compromise agreement of the negotiated U.S. Department of Justice and settlements of claims arising actual imminent litigation. Official Service Administrative Certified Payment of the Judgment Act Fund stayed in Treasury Regulation Title 31 CFR 256-1. Survival Services Official Services certify the payment of the judgment for the following four criteria have been met: award settlement or final award settlements are monetary. One of the awards specified in Title 31 U.S. Code 1304, provided the payment of the award settlement for the judgment fund payment may not legally be made from any other source funds. Section 3130 for the general guide of the requesting payments. 313010 core requirements for the agency submission officials over the request payment with the judgment fund. Submitting agency submit with the federal officials over the forms and supporting documentation required. Treasury Regulation Title 31 CFR Part 256 Chapter request for the payment to judgment fund web page full text of 31 CFR Part 256. Submitting agency legitimate awards. Agency responsible to defending the United States Court in most instances of the Department of Justice Administrative Awards responsible and or submitting agency authorized to sell the claim in Title 31 CFR 256-10. Awards agencies may require to submit the payment of the request electronically with the use of the judgment fund and internet claim system. Electronic claim submissions must be included the required documentation form 197, the judgment fund voucher payment applicability form 197, be downloaded judgment form electronic filing web page. Submitting agency required for the JFICS or what was that? I don't understand. I don't know what a JFCIS is. The JFIC has submitted the request for the official services electronically and must include the submission of the copy necessary for the support of the documents, include the settlement of the agreement judgment instant form 197 of the committee for the settlement agreement except for the JFICS or formats of PDF and TIFF up to 32 megabytes. Treasury Regulations regular for the Title 31 CFR 256-12 details supporting documentation of the most company agency payment requests. As stated in Title 31 256-13, agency must also include valid taxpayer identification for each of the person legally entitled to payment on all payment requests unless all of the one exemptions listed in officials for the Treasury in taxpayer identification number policy. Taxpayer identification policy can be found on the taxpayer identification number webpage. 3130-20 additional information payment on behalf of the insurance claim. The insurance additional supporting documentation was specified in 31 CFR 256-12. The agency requires the payments made on behalf of the insured claimant with the insured must include the documentation supporting the pay with the authority to receive the test of the payment as specified below. If the insurance company, some of the other insurers have made a payment on the behalf of the insured claimant, if the for the reimbursed deductible amount before the president of the claim of the payment with the U.S. government with the reasonable agent must document with the insurance authority to collect the amount on the behalf of the insurance claimant. If the insurance company, some of the other insurers have made to payment to on behalf of the insured the claimant before the insured payment with the claim of the U.S. government, the responsible agent must document with the insurance claimant authority to collect the insured portion of the claim on the behalf of the insurer. Alright, 3135, block partying property, prohibiting transaction person who will commit, threaten to commit, or support terrorism. Executive Order 1322-4 for the prohibited transaction of the person committed with the threaten, commit with the support terrorism. The Department of Treasury Office of the Foreign Assets Control, maintain specially designated nationals and block person list, which provided the list of individuals covered in Executive Order 1322-4 of the special designated national black person list, included additional restrictions over the foreign assets control regulation, Title 31 CFR Chapter 5, Judgment Fund branch that does not make the certified payments or all checks the warrants payable to the individual or organization of the specialized designated nationals black person list, the Judgment branch, Budget Fund branch, the special designated nationals and black person for list before payments. Or direct questions, Executive Order 1322-4 of the special designated nationals block person list and following with the contact information of the OFAC. Section 3140, agent for the reimbursement for the obligation state within Title 31 Standard Code 25640 for the agent for the inquire with the reimbursement for the judgment fund payment pursuant with the Contract Dispute Act, Title 41 U.S. Standard Code 5108 with the receipt of the payments of the sub of the notification federal employment, the Anti-Discrimination Retaliation Act of 2002, Title 5 U.S. Standard Code 2301, note with the associated officials of the reimbursement, note with the responsible party, notice sent within 30 business days from the day of the judgment payment of the judgment fund with the payment arising from the Contract Dispute Act. Cases within 15 business days of the payment from the judgment fund payments arising from the No Fear Act cases. Alright, 314010 Contract Dispute Act, Contract Disputes Act, Agency of the Reimbursement Obligation, Problem with the Receipt, Reimbursement, the Contract Disputes Act, I have the case for the agency, 45 business day, repay with the Judgment Fund contract, contact Judgment Fund branch, make with a written arrangement with the Reimbursed Judgment Fund, and the agent for the non-compliant with the reimbursement kind of requirement of the Contract Disputes Act. If fails to reimburse or make with a timely arrangement reimbursement, but the agency fails to respond with the Contract Dispute Act reimbursement notice, notified non-response to any of the reports of contract abuse or reimbursement requests that are required by Congress. Alright, 3140, No Fear Act for the agency reimbursement obligations. Upon the receipt, reimbursement, and notice for the No Fear Act for the agency, the 45 business to repay with the Judgment Fund, contact Judge Fund branch, make written arrangement reimbursement, Judge Fund agency for the complaint with the reimbursement requirement with the No Fear Act fails to reimburse with the make temporary arrangement with the reimbursement as required with the Office Management, Personal Management Regulations, the Title 5 CFR 72. 4104, Office of Personal Management Regulations require that the official service post for the annual report agency fail with the reimbursement of the judgment fund contact official service within 45 business days after the reimbursement and notice of the review of the report with the link provided with the judgment fund non-compliance webpage. Agency remains on report with until the reimbursement of the judgment fund make the written arrangement of the reimbursement. 3145, account requirements of the judgment fund payment of reimbursement, interpretation of federal financing accounting standards, interpretation number 2, accounting with Treasury, general fund transaction, interpretation statement of federal financing accounting standards, number 4 and number 5 require with the agency to recover. We recognize the liabilities, expense of the unfavorable litigation overcomes the probable amount that can be estimated to retrieve the interpretation of federal account standards, safety board, federal accounting standards advisory board website. 314510, accounting non-reimbursable payments according to the standards of Statement of Financial Federal Financial Accounting Standards number 4, amendment to the Federal Financing Accounting Standards number 30. Enter any cost implementation costs of the program outputs include the cost of the provided the entities whether or not providing entity full reimburse such for the loss of the litigation proceedings judgment fund transaction statement of Federal Financing Accounting Standards number 30 in August 2005 requires full implementation entry cost provisions of standard Federal Financing Accounting Standards number 4. An account unreimbursed cost of the reporting entity should refer to the following. Refer to the standard financial Federal Financing Standard number 4 and 5 and 30. Relevant standard for Federal Financing Accounting Standards interpretation, such as interpretation number 2 and 6. U.S. Standard General Ledger Official Service Intergovernmental Transaction Guide, Treasury Financial Manual, Volume 1, Part 2, 4700, Appendix 6. Reporting entity should also consult with the Judgment Fund branch for the information needed for the proper record of the entirety cost of the payments made with the Judgment Fund, filing brief disclaimer of the recording transaction, relating to non-reimbursement, judge payment, the agency should determine the probable legal claim, anything loss, the agency, the federal agency, probable loss can be estimated. Agency recognizes expense with contingent liability, full amount of expected loss. Judgment Fund determine the appropriate source of the payment of these agencies reserve the contingent liability to recognize the cost of imputed financing for the source of the Treasury as trading partner. Agency should use the trade the partner 020 officials for the records of the non-federal expense. Alright, 3145, accounting reimbursable payment of the contract dispute with the No Fear Act payments. Fund brief scenario, record transaction related to the reimbursement judgment fund. Agency determine the probability of legal claim ending the loss of against the federal agency probable with the loss that can be estimated with the agency recognize with the expense of the contingent liability with the full amount with the expected loss. Judgment fund determine with the appropriate term of the payment of the claim the agency reserves the contingent liability record payment of the judgment trade. Future reserve record with the expense of the permanent indefinite account records receivable from the agency for the miscellaneous receipt account post revenue. Interagency does not available to the fund of the seeking fund implemental operation of the pursuing the reimbursement plan. Full officials of the federal agency the reserve contingent liability records accrued liability future fund expense if the agency arranges reimbursement plan. Officials of the federal agency reverse the contingency liability records accrued liability operating expense. With the agency reimbursement judgment fund, the agency reduces liability. The officials of the funding balance for the treasurer, the officials of the records reimbursement miscellaneous recipient account receives with the agency reduced for information accounting the judgment fund. Contact the judgment fund branch. See contacts. Alright, 3145 confirmation process. The Intragovernmental Transaction Guide for Treasury Financial Management, Volume 1, Part 2, 4700, Page 6, provides policy for the federal program agency account with the reconciled transaction using occurring within between each of the quarterly basis officials of the both for the outstanding receivable revenue balance of the period. Both contractor disputes and No Fear Act payments are to be website with addition close of the every quarter official year send the agency and governmental contact figure confirmation of reflect the outstanding receivable revenue report of the period of the exemption, the confirmation of the first quarter agency have 30 calendar days before the end of the quarter respond officials of the judgment fund, officials of the treasury gov regarding accuracy of the amount of the report, officials of the agency respect for the confirmation of the first quarter of the annual against the and most respond with the defined provided annually over the year. Agency must provide supporting documentation. Example: the Intragovernmental Payment Collection System, transaction canceled checks for any checks that wanted to the post balance of the process, facilitate the reconciliation report, receive the balance, and improve the quality of the agency reporting. Agency outstanding balance posted for the filing official services, No Fear Act, Contract Disputes Act. Or 314540 financial statement accounting disclosure requirements of the judgment fund receivable official reports received the arising payments of the Contract Dispute Act, No Fear Act, include them in the appropriate disclosure according to the Office of Management Budget Circular number A 136. Financial reporting requirements of receivable are presented in balance sheet and their net reasonable value realizable value that are reported in the assets section under intergovernmental receivables, and your contacts would be the Bureau officials of the Judgment Fund branch, and that's Stripper 3100 of Part 6, Volume 1.